qualifying heat from Daytona. It's Pichon, number 7. Larry Ward is also battling with Ezra Lusk, number 3. Number 3 and 4, right behind the leader. It's Albertine, number 7, my correction. Inside, Larry Ward, coming off his Tampa win, takes the lead away from his teammate. They're battling it out. 2 Team Suzuki's in front with Ezra Lusk right behind him. That was just brilliant by Larry Ward. He just created a line, went right around the outside of Lusk, made the pass, and then he jumped a different timing down the next straightaway, taking the lead. But back and forth we go, Albertine. Maybe a little hyped since Larry Ward took the first Team Suzuki win last week. I think so. The whole team's got to be buzzing. They got more horsepower last week. Marty kept bringing that up. They weren't really able to show that, rather. And here today on this fast track, you're going to see it. Already saw it on the start.
How important is qualifying, David, here at Daytona?
Very important because of the start. If you get 5 or 6 gates to either end, you've got no shot at a good start.
As we watch Albertine and Larry Ward battling it out, Marty Reed.
Well, guys, you'd mentioned the fact that Suzuki has had a real great week. They had a lot of congratulatory notes from Japan, and they had a great week of testing. They said, yeah, this new power plant is for real, and here we go again. I mean, they're showing it very early, running 1-2.
Right behind, there you see second place, Albertine. Ezra Lusk coming up on him, and Mikel Pichon, another Team Suzuki, right behind Ezra Lusk. Not quite in the picture yet.
Larry Ward just pulling away from these guys. And Art, I watched him in practice. He pulled out. Everyone jumped onto the track. Ryan Hughes was the first one to get out there, and Ward was about 8th back. Now, practice isn't a race, but next thing I know, 3/4 of a lap later, Ward's in the lead, passed everybody, just wanted to get out there and attack this racetrack. So he's still got the adrenaline from Tampa.
So Larry Ward, you know, when you look back on the season, David, you got Tortelli, the surprise for everybody in the opener. Ezra Lusk then bringing Honda back into the winning picture. McGrath dominating 4 straight wins, and then truly a storybook victory for Larry Ward.
Yeah, it was really neat to see, and you know, I think what he wants to do today is demonstrate that nope, I was going to win anyway. The heck with that rain. That's not why I won. I won because I was motivated and everything was clicking.
Side by side, Ezra Lusk to the inside, and number 7, Greg Albertine. And Albertine takes it right back again. Oh, great qualifying action between these two. Team Suzuki versus Team Honda.
Both those guys getting over the triple that time. Entering that far in. Carmichael, the first guy to do it after practice. They went out and worked that jump a little bit. The guy's able to get over it now. I'm pretty impressed with Greg right here. Lusk has been fast, pretty intimidating, and he's holding him off. But also having a good run last week. Keep talking about how well Larry Ward rode, and Albertine was right there. In fact, he came from dead last to the first turn crash all the way up to 5th.
Oh! Albertine goes over the bars. Here comes Pichon, number 16, passing Ezra Lusk.
That is a slippery corner. Lusk getting in there, trying to make a pass, getting sideways. They just clipped. And that was a freaky way to go down by just touching like that. But I've seen Albertine do worse.
Out in front, Larry Ward, number 4. Pichon, his Team Suzuki teammate, is in second place with Lusk in third, and now Craig in 4th. Let's take another look as we watch Larry Ward. There's number 7, Greg Albertine. Whoa!
That's hard to tell. That jump, just as they're approaching that jump, come out of the corner. Mitch Payton had a good view of that.
Mitch Payton down there, didn't you?
Yeah, it looked to me like Lusk's bike slid out and clipped perhaps the frame or the foot peg or the rear tire of Albertine's bike, just caused him to stop dead.
So Kevin Pride, number 63, moves into the top 5 order. We'll be right back after taking a look at the Suzuki leaderboard. Welcome back to our first qualifying action of the Daytona Supercross. Way out in front is Larry Ward of Team Suzuki, and behind him, Mikel Pichon, the young Frenchman who lives near Le Mans. Pichon on Team Suzuki, showing his speed this year, but having trouble staying on 2 wheels. Trying to hold on a second as Ezra Lusk is right behind him, number 3 of Team Yamaha. Craig is in 4th, and Albertine now has moved back into the transfer picture, coming up to 5th already.
Well, picking up one more spot will make a big difference to the gate position for the main event. As I was about to say, the reason if you move out to the sides, whoa! Pichon only going for the double on that because of some lapped riders, and Lusk was tripling it.
got into him, so the second time he tangles with the Suzuki guys, they're going to need to stay apart. I think he's just going to ride this thing home and try to get to the main. That's 2 close calls for Lusk. But the starting gate here is a lot wider. Starting 30 riders for the main event. Not a lot of room down there in that first corner, so if you get out to either end, it's a big disadvantage. Gate position here is crucial.
Number 16, Mikel Pichon, is 5 seconds in back of Larry Ward.
Now Suzuki's got it dialed in because Ward first had company from his teammate Albertine. Now he's got another teammate back there behind him.
Pichon now 3 seconds in front of Ezra Lusk. Lusk in third with Craig in fourth.
I don't know how ambitious Lusk is right now. I think he's just going to call this a heat 1, get back to the semi. Stay away from these guys.
Team Suzuki sure doing themselves proud here in our opening qualifying heat at the Daytona Supercross.
Pichon working through the whoop-de-doos there. A single jump into a double jump and into a triple jump. Something new. These guys have been blowing that timing all along.
The former 2-time 125 Eastern Championship. And Pichon has had some good luck and bad luck here at Daytona.
Here's another replay. Pichon going for the double. Watch Lusk in the air. Last minute adjustment.
Whoa.
They just touched. Boy, that could have been a lot worse.
Got the elbow out for
ugly.
balance and kept right on moving. Here's our leader, Larry Ward.
Working his way into the first turn. You see it's getting rough coming into that corner now. So a lot like an outdoor. They come down a 4th gear straightaway there. Getting some braking bumps, and that's going to get trickier during the starts.
Ward pacing himself right now, going from a better time to a 126.1 on the last lap, David.
Right. Well, you don't need to push yourself the entire heat race. What he's doing is trying to establish a good lead, get that secured, learn as much as you can about the racetrack, put in a few fast laps so you can compare yourself to the winners of the other heats, but then save some energy because the main event's going to be long.
Well, football this year had its Elway getting his first Super Bowl ring. Earnhardt finally winning Daytona in auto racing, and Larry Ward picking up his second Supercross win. A great veteran and a storybook type story on Larry Ward last week. As the first qualifying heat continues, there you see the Suzuki leaderboard. Larry Ward, Mikel Pichon, Ezra Lusk in third, with Greg Albertine now moving up to fourth.
I think what we might see happen here is when Lusk got together, both with Albertine and then Pichon off that triple, he may have done something to either the shifter or the brake lever. And,
shift lever, I believe. He was trying to adjust it.
Yeah, he's just
right
cruising around.
afterwards.
So Albertine's coming on strong. He may be able to work his way past Lusk before the end of this race.
So hopefully Ezra Lusk will have that clutch lever fixed by the time they come around again, as Larry Ward's on the white flag lap. One final lap now for Larry Ward here in the opening qualifying round.
And that was just a straightaway there after the finish line jump, just a straightaway full of grass. You see how rough it's gotten. It's going to get worse and worse as the day goes on. The berms here get high. They got a big outside sand-packed berm, Pichon. Then you can see those little inside ruts. He blew that a little bit, so he wasn't able to carry enough speed around that corner.
Pichon safely in second place right now. He doesn't want to go down.
Getting into that front straightaway, the single, the double, then the triple. That triple about 68 feet. It's pretty far.
Pichon's looking for a highlight this year. So far, his biggest highlight really winning a qualifying heat in 3 semis. His best race this season was 4th in the opener in Los Angeles. Number 16, Mikel Pichon. Ezra Lusk in 3rd place. Last week showing why McGrath feels Ezra is the only rider fast enough to really concern him consistently. He almost caught Ward in the waning moments of that race in Tampa.
That's something I think is really going to be in his favor today. He's so fast and he wants to win so bad. And since this is a Honda-sponsored race, he's going to want to put that bike in winner's circle, and it's going to be a long race. He's in great shape. So Lusk is a guy to look for at the end of the main event.
Here comes Ward, the checkers for Larry Ward. He's getting used to seeing that. Pichon right behind him in 2nd place. Lusk probably taking 3rd, with Albertine in 4th and Craig in 5th. We'll be right back as Marty Reed makes his way over to where our winner Larry Ward is. Our first qualifiers for the main event here at the Daytona Supercross: Larry Ward, Mikel Pichon, Ezra Lusk, Greg Albertine, rounding out the Team Suzuki triad, and Michael Craig of Honda of Troy in the top 5. Let's go down to Marty.
Yeah, we're down here with a very happy Larry Ward, picking right up where he left off, but he's a little bit drier than the last time we saw him. Nice ride.
Yeah, thank you. Suzuki's worked hard. They got me a good bike, got a good start, and had a little fun with my teammate Greg Albertine, and then decided I better get busy.
Well, you guys, I mean, Pichon finishes second. Albie came back to finish fourth even after going down. Obviously, now we know this new motor is definitely working for you guys.
Yeah, it definitely is. Greg got the whole shot. I was right behind him in second, and, you know, we're happy. We just wanted a little bit more, and they gave us quite a bit more, so we're real happy. Hopefully we can get all 3 of them Suzukis on the podium tonight. Greg and me, Caleb, both been close, so hopefully they'll get up there today.
Look out, guys. I think he's shooting for 2 in a row.
Congratulations to Larry Ward winning the first heat. It's interesting here with the way the heats go to 3 heats at Daytona. The 5 we expected to qualify did, David Bailey.
Yeah, absolutely. You sort of dilute the field a little bit, but you still never know. I mean, what happened, or what could have happened really between Lusk and Pichon there, and Lusk and Albertine could have sent one of those guys to the semi. And in this race, where it was about, I'm looking at 6 potential guys that should qualify, and one of those is not going to get to go. So this could get really interesting.
The only riders still to finish in all single digits besides Jeremy McGrath, and McGrath, of course, doing such a great job leading the points, is Kevin Windham. You see his back there. Marty Reed.
You know, you mentioned Kevin. This is the loosest I've ever seen this guy. I mean, he's got a nice sense of humor, but he was really cutting up today, real relaxed, had a great week of practice, and he does not normally like sand-based tracks, and he says, you know what, I'm sort of enjoying it. So watch out for bike number 8.
32nd board is appearing to the riders now as they get tense, start to go through their routines. Another great Supercross crowd in our Supercross series here at Daytona. Kevin Windham along with Mike LaRocco in our picture. Factory Connection Honda. He practiced with all the Honda guys. They all took off and had intensive testing on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday between Tampa and Daytona. Also Damon Huffman and Ryan Hughes in the Team Kawasaki group. Michael Brown of Honda of Troy. Steve Lampson, Team Honda. John Sebastian Waugh and Lance Smale, some of the big names we expect to be out in front, but as David said, anything can happen as they head for the whole shot territory. There is Windham.
You know what Windham did there, Art, that was fantastic and very smart. He sat up a lot straighter during the start. We watched him take off. He got better traction. Everyone's been spinning in that grass, and it worked for him.
Caton is in third behind Mike LaRocco. LaRocco, an unusual great start. He, of course, was hoping for one because he says, I like this track, and I've got to put things together here today.
Well, LaRocco lately has been getting better starts. Windham over the triple, LaRocco going for it, Huffman doubling. It's hard to triple that when you get back into traffic. Gets busy back there. You don't know what the guys next to you are going to do, so it's better to play it safe.
He's having a hard time of it, but he's in third place right there behind LaRocco. Damon Huffman, he's been kind of a mystery too on that Team Kawasaki team.
Yeah, I think they're all scratching their heads over there because they got 3 guys that can win. I know they do. I know they feel that, and I believe it as well, but they've yet to do it. So
his teammate Ryan Hughes trying to make a move now on the independent rider, Waugh.
The track here in Daytona changes drastically. Every couple of laps, you got to pretty much adjust your line, and Huffman getting into a couple of those berms with a little bit more speed, high side, because it's changed so much. Now that he's got a lap in the book, next lap will be a lot better.
So it's Rhino. Ryan Hughes, number 10, trying to catch up with Waugh. And there he goes. Ryan Hughes into the corner.
Great shot of the speed.
Here comes Waugh. Oh, that's a good battle, David.
Yeah, and Ryan will win that. He's a little meaner. He'll get in there and fight. He might go down, but he's going to give it everything.
Ryan Hughes starting out the season trying to work his way through a myriad of injuries, a back injury especially, really put him behind the 8 ball.
Well, you don't like to come into the season that way, and it really messed him up because prior to the season, a couple of weeks, he was looking good. Then he came up short on one of those triples right there. Imagine landing on your feet on the 3rd one. That's what he did, and it just really got him started off on the wrong foot.
Along with mistakes leading to only 3 semifinal wins and a best of a 5th place finish in Houston. Our leader is Kevin Windham. He's been outstanding in his rookie 250 season. 3 podiums in the last 4 races. Brown has now moved into 5th, so it is Windham, LaRocco, Huffman, Ryan Hughes, and Michael Brown. We'll be right back to see if that order holds true when we return to the Daytona International Speedway. Just over the finish line jump, Kevin Windham, number 8. Team Yamaha, and Kevin has done such a great job this year, starting out the season with a 5th, but in 3 of the last 4 races has taken a 3rd place podium finish. Number 8, Windham.
He seems poised, ready to win. He's had a couple of tastes at riding up front the last few weeks. That whole shot in Atlanta, and thought he was going to get up to challenge Ward last week, but this week I think he's ready to go.
Here he's approaching now the triple, where he'll have to take each one individually, as Mike May is the rider who is down on the track right now. And the medical crew's still working to get Mike May off the track.
Yeah, I've seen some close calls like that where a rider goes down, somebody's in the air committed, and they just barely miss each other. We actually saw that in the first heat between Lusk, but imagine if Pichon had gone down and Lusk landed on it. That's what happened there with May, so I hope he gets back up.
Ali Seymour, look ahead, he says on his pit board to his rider Kevin Windham. Windham likes to take the grass on the inside sometimes. Gets pretty slick over there.
Yeah, it is more slippery, but what he's able to do there is miss those braking bumps coming into that corner. He kind of threads the needle between the rough spot and those hay bales.
White flag lap coming up pretty soon as we take a look at number 100, Mike Brown. He ran the GP circuit last year, came back to return to Honda of Troy. This is the final lap now, the white flag lap in our 2nd qualifying heat.
Lamson starting to close the gap on Brown. As you take a look at Windham, that far in gets to sit down through there. That's smooth for now. Work his way into this double. See how he uses his body right there to try to stick that bike on the downside, and he actually stayed out of that rut there, coming through that right-hand corner, squared it. Sometimes in the main event, track gets so rough in spots, what they like to do is pull the inside corner marker back about 3 or 4 feet and give them a brand new line during that parade lap, so they get more room for all those riders. 30 riders on the gate for the main.
Boy, that last shot of Mike LaRocco, he was looking real smooth. There you see him, number 5 behind number 8, trying to close the gap before they hit that finish line jump.
Working his way to the opposite end. You see Windham just coming out of the corner dealing with the lapped rider. Rocco got pretty close, got over there nice. You see, he's still pushing all the way to the end. That's why Ali was telling Kevin, look ahead, because he's got LaRocco back there coming strong.
Kevin Windham, Mike LaRocco. Boy, wouldn't that be something?
You see, they go right from that black sand into the white lime rock.
Here's Lamson. That's LaRocco, number 5, but Lamson has just now moved into 5th. So he was able to catch Mike Brown, David Bailey. The checkers for Kevin Windham. So Kevin Windham putting back-to-back, well, 3 straight heat wins now. Looking forward to the main event along with 4 other riders out of our 2nd qualifying heat. As we take a look at the 5 qualifiers out of our 2nd qualifying heat, Windham, LaRocco, Hughes, Huffman, and Lamson barely edged Michael Brown at the finish line jump to secure the final transfer spot in our 2nd qualifying heat. Let's get on to Marty Reed.
I think we're going to have to give Kevin a commission here for making me look so good. I sort of told everybody how loose you were, and boy, you definitely just powered away, got the whole shot. Nice ride.
Yeah, it was great. Bike pulled me to a great start. YZ's working wonderful for me, and you know, I had a little trouble with the Red Cross flag and you know, the lappers and stuff, but you know, I just tried to get out there and get a flow and try to find some good lines, because if you don't have the right ones here, you're gonna get beat up.
Well, the thing that we pointed it out also, you singled them, and then the group that came behind you, all of a sudden they didn't see it, and they tripled them, and all of a sudden your lead was down another, but you pulled it back out again.
Yeah, I saw that one lap, and I was like, man, he got awfully close, and that was the only way that I didn't really make too many mistakes that lap. So I thought, well, man, that's the only way that he could have gained on me. And you know, my mechanic just told me that they pulled the flag in after I went over, and luckily I was able to you know, keep my momentum going and pull the lead back out.
You confident enough to predict victory? I mean, you've had 3/3 out of the last 4 races.
Keep it consistent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'm always shooting for the win. I just, you know, I'm feeling so good right now. My bike's working wonders, and you know, I just need to keep it consistent, and that's why I'm where I'm at in the point series right now. And but I'm definitely shooting for some wins. I'm about due, I hope.
Getting ready for heat number 3, Jeff Emig at the starting gate now. And Jeff Emig on a very difficult season after winning the championship last year. Here at Daytona, last season he led every lap. Henry challenged him early, but Emig just took over for a dominating win.
Daytona in '97 was one of my greatest races ever. Really, because it's Daytona for one, because you get your name on the plaque inside of the museum for the other, and just for the fact that I led every lap while I was there. I was a little bit tight in practice. I didn't ride all week from the Gainesville National to the Daytona race. I didn't ride. I took some time off the bike. So in the beginning I was a little tight, but man, I felt that I had really good speed, and my starts, my reflexes, everything was on. And I mean, when I won that race, that was like that was one of those races, like right afterwards, I could really enjoy it. I mean, I remember McGrath and Albertine spraying champagne on me like it was yesterday. I mean, I just remember wiping my face. I mean, I can feel all of the emotions. I can bring those up and just feel it, like all over again.
Also challenging here in the third qualifying try is Jeremy McGrath, number 2 from Menifee, California, on the Chaparral Yamaha, and his Chaparral teammate, number 11, right there, Jimmy Button. Taking a look at the Suzuki track map, David.
Well, of all the Supercross tracks, this one really stands out. All the way back to 1972, the setting, the history here, the grass, the longer lap, the lap times today, almost 120. And there's 4 triple jumps, 1 4th gear straightaway, and the sand in between all the obstacles is going to get a lot rougher as each lap goes through the books.
The guy who knows how every bike has been set up, I think, down here today is Marty Reed. Marty.
Hey, the big news, take a look at Jeff Emig. 30 board just came out. They have gone with a full motocross setup. Now that is totally different than everybody else. Everybody else has been running a compromise. About 55% Supercross, 45% for motocross. And David, you can explain the difference better than I can, but this is going to be one interesting race to watch.
Well, the difference, because you don't have that perfectly manicured, nice packed clay where you're just 2nd and 3rd gear all the time. Here, the track changes a lot with each lap. Some of the corners got 4 lines through them. It resembles an outdoor national-style racetrack, so these guys set it up the same way.
Okay, the 5-second board has been tilted now, and we're set for the gate to drop for our 3rd qualifying heat from Daytona. Good start for Jeremy McGrath, but look at Jeff Emig just power by going into the first turn now. Emig is our leader with Jimmy Button and McGrath right behind him.
Well, Emig had a beautiful angle going into that first corner. The guys really funneled down, and he had a good view and just didn't let off, but he's got a lot of company right now.
Very important for Jeff Emig to put it together.
Well, this would be a big statement if he could hold Jeremy off here for either a long time or either all the way to the checkered flag, because he needs to get something started, and getting it started here at Daytona would be a big shot in the arm for Kawasaki and a boost for Jeff.
Here in the early going, it's Emig, McGrath. Lawrence has moved into 3rd against Jimmy Button, number 24. On the Ducati Kawasaki is Lawrence. Jimmy Button now trying to get back up to where he was a couple of races ago.
Now you see all that lime rock flying. That's like gravel. When it hits you, it hurts. Working their way into the triple. Button just decided to do the double. The face that's getting very rutted. These triples right here in the first practice session that I was watching, I never saw Emig do either one. In the second practice, he came out and started doing them, but it was really surprising me that he wasn't going for those.
Phil Lawrence in 3rd, Jimmy Button in 4th. That's where our real battle right now in the qualifying heat exists. After a grand heat race last week, a 4th place finish in Tampa, a crash on the 4th lap in the main event really did Phil Lawrence in. He went all the way to last place. But injuries and crashes have taken a toll on him, and it's interesting because he's picking up space now on Jeremy McGrath. McGrath right in front of Lawrence, Button banging the back tire of Lawrence. How long can he hold on as Henry now has moved behind them into 5th place?
Well, this is really good news. Oh, see Phil Lawrence right there. He jumped that finish line plateau, couldn't make the corner. I was just about to say that this great battle for 2nd was allowing Emig to start to pull away.
Here comes John Dowd, number 9, Team Yamaha, catching up with Phil Lawrence. But Emig is still our leader with McGrath in 2nd place.
So Button right back where he started off, right behind Jeremy. These guys will work their way together up there and hopefully challenge Emig. right now Emick's controlling this race. These guys haven't closed the gap at all.
So our third qualifying heat from Daytona's Supercross continues in a moment. Art Eckman, David Bailey, Marty Reed from Daytona Supercross. Third qualifying heat action. It's Emig out in front with McGrath in second, Button in third, Henry in fourth, and Phil Lawrence on the bubble in fifth. The top 5 qualifiers getting the transfer to the main event out of our qualifying heats.
Emig, that last lap just turned a 123 flat. So that's why he's opening up this lead. That's not the fastest that we've seen, but that's very fast, within a half a second. And the track's a little bit rougher than it was earlier. As I pointed out already several times, this track is going to get rougher every 3 or 4 laps or so. It totally changes.
Well, we hear in the background that 4-stroke sound of Henry, number 19, trying to pick up on Jimmy Button. Of course, Button's bubble burst last week in Tampa after 4 outstanding races. He had to go to the LCQ to make the main and then crash twice, ending up in 18th as we go back to our leader, Jeff Emig. Oh, how important is this race here at Daytona for Emig?
This is a win that he really needs, and looks to me like McGrath is just inching up a little bit. Going back to Henry, you see him just coming into the shot, going for the triple there. I saw him out there last night walking the track. He walked the track, I think he walked it like 4 times. I go, what are you doing? He goes, one more lap.
Yeah. Always concentrating, always working, always focusing on race day.
Now, first he was walking in the dark, and they turned on the lights, and he did a few more laps.
Might get a better feel that way, don't you think?
Yeah, it's hard to memorize the course. It's harder than usual because it's a lot longer.
Look at the battle now. Teammates, McGrath and Button. Button has really turned it on. In third place behind Jeremy McGrath, making sure not to bounce each other right there.
And this is good for Emig as he approaches the halfway mark. That last lap, he just put in a 122, so he's picked up the pace.
McGrath going off the track and Button taking over second place as Randy Lawrence with that concerned look. I was wondering why he had the furrow in the brow right there. But Henry now is picking up on McGrath.
Button was pushing Jeremy, and Jeremy overjumped that finish line jump, and right as soon as you land, you got to make a left. And it's really catching a lot of these guys by surprise. If you don't do it just right, catch that downside on the brakes, you go off the track. Jeremy did a nice job to not go too far out of his way and lose another position.
Here comes McGrath, though, trying to pick off that second place. In back of Emig, number 1. Jeff Emig, the winner here last year, went on to the championship. Jimmy Button, who before last week was the success of the season behind his teammate McGrath, going from 19th to 3rd in the point standings, 4 points out of second place before Tampa.
Well, I can tell you out front, Emig just disappearing down to the mechanics area in front of this battle for second is probably got a little concern. Oh, Button tearing up all the hay bales. He got a little offline right there, looking for a smooth line.
And Button goes down. Jeremy McGrath passes him easy.
He
gets Henry also by.
Yeah, he messed up his concentration. He went wide in that corner, hit another hay bale. So there goes his heat race. Down the tubes in a matter of a half a straightaway.
Dowd moving into that final spot. Emig, McGrath, Henry, Lawrence, and Dowd.
Now here's Button. He'd already gone wide into the corner. He drips out over the berm, hits the hay bales, goes down right in front of his teammate. And I was about to say before all that happened, Emig right here, now he's got a little bit better lead on McGrath. Actually, it's about the same. McGrath hasn't closed in, but he's still right there. And he's got to have a big smile under this helmet saying, yeah, this is more like it. Get that whole shot and stay there.
You see our Suzuki leaderboard. Emig is our leader. Henry all over McGrath. Whoa, but he liked to take that position. He gets mixed up in the lappers, though, and Jeremy gets the outside trend. Jeremy McGrath holding on to second place against Doug Henry. Henry not letting him off the hook, though.
While all this is happening, they're closing the gap a little bit on Jeff Emig now. And Emig, that last lap, I had my eye on him, and he did a few wobbles, got it behind in some lap traffic, got held up a little bit too, see if he can open it back up now with a clear track.
Button still in 6th place. As we take a look at the Henry-McGrath battle, it looks like the 4-stroke is calibrated just right for this track.
Well, you can see This track is kind of narrow in some spots just because of the configuration, what they have to dodge, but these guys are using totally different lines.
Marty, your observation.
What's really interesting, I asked Pete Steinberg, I said, hey, is this wide open, straightaway going to help this four-stroke? He says, I really don't think so. He says, I think we're at a disadvantage on this track, but boy, the way Doug's riding it, it's anything but. He's right on McGrath's back, and they are both closing on Jeff Emig.
Accurate observation as we take a look at Emig, McGrath, and Henry. Hold on to your hats. We might have a new leader. Henry tries for McGrath on the outside. Does he have enough room? Henry moves into second place. The white flag is getting ready to fly, and we're going to have an exciting finish to our third qualifying heat. Emig, Henry, McGrath. The question now, can Emig hold off the four-stroke? The white flag is in the air. Our final lap.
Well, now we're going to find out just what Emig's made of.
He likes to use the track. Can he hold off Henry, though, who has shown tremendous torque and power? Button has moved into fifth.
This is an interesting matchup right here.
Oh, he made the mistake. Henry to the inside.
I was about to say, both these guys, Emig and Doug Henry, I think if you go around the pits and ask the riders who is the toughest to pass, both those names come up.
And the fans are on their feet stamping on the aluminum seats. Doug Henry, big favorite here in Daytona.
Now, he's been through so much. He's just won the hearts of everybody. Plus, riding that four-stroke, you never have a problem spotting him. And making that pass in the last lap with the two best riders in motocross history in the last few years, McGrath and Emig, number 1 and 2.
Henry, well, Yamaha has been working hard to bring this new four-stroke, and there's Henry. And Emig. Henry! Oh, my goodness. Making the move. Jeff Emig trying to come back. I don't know if he can hold with him, though, David.
They got a different timing right here. Emig with an outside line to try to square and get a run.
Here's the race to the checkered flag. Henry, the comeback victory here in our third qualifying heat with Emig and Jeremy McGrath. We'll take a look at the official top 5 that move on to the main. Let's take a look at that move once again as Doug Henry pursuing Jeff Emig here in the third qualifying round at Daytona. A little fishtail by Emig to the inside Henry, and he bursts and heads for the finish line. We were talking about a much needed win for Jeff Emig. Well, I think we have to say the same thing, David Bailey, as far as Doug Henry is concerned. These are the 5 riders that move on to the main event before going to the semifinal rounds. Doug Henry, Jeff Emig, Jeremy McGrath, Jimmy Button, and Phil Lawrence. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
And Doug Henry making it to victory lane here. And well, I'll tell you what, that was one thriller for us. How was it for you?
It was a thriller for me too. I think this is the first heat race that I ever won after coming back from my broken back in '96, I believe. So this track's always been good to me, and you know, hopefully I have some good luck in the main and run away with it.
Yeah, but Pete told me before the race, I said, do you think the four-stroke's going to have an advantage here? He says, no, I don't think so. He says, I think I'm at a disadvantage. But man, you guys rode well.
Yeah, you know, the bike works really good. You know, John R's been working a lot with the suspension, and you know, we really feel that we got a good bike to go racing and win the main event.
Now, one pointer. Next time you win the heat race, you got to wipe your mouth before you kiss Stacy.
Okay.
She came back awfully dirty there.
Yeah, she don't mind.
No, I think she'd take that kiss all the time, guys.
Doug Henry, always with a smile on his face as we get set now for our first semifinal round. Keith Johnson, Ryan Terlicki, Lance Smale trying to make the main event out of this one. Kevin Crime, some popular names there as they try to qualify for the main event. Marty making his way back to the pits. Let's check in with him about the Jeff Emig situation. Marty.
Guys, an update on Jeff Emig. We were wondering if maybe he had some arm pump at the end of the race, why he fell back to second place. It wasn't that at all. He missed the jump. We all know that. But he's also got a very stiff neck. He woke up with it this morning, and it's been getting progressively worse. They've got a chiropractor in the transporter right now trying to loosen him up for the main.
Thanks, Marty. David, a stiff neck doesn't sound like the utterance of confidence coming from the Emig camp.
Well, I'm not saying that it doesn't have a stiff neck, but it seems a little odd that his neck would be fine for the first 6 laps of that heat race, because he sure looked good. I think he just got a little tight towards the end and have felt the pressure. He hasn't been in that situation this year and that late into a race. And I think he's got to be pretty happy with the way he rode. Even though he didn't win, he's right in there.
Oh, look at the great crowd here at Daytona International Speedway. One of the most popular, if not the most popular event during Bike Week.
John Sebastian Waugh just to the inside of the starting gate. Kevin Krein to his right. This start narrows down. If you don't get a good jump, you get beat out over the gate. You just got to wait through that first turn.
Ryan Terlicki's had some good rides this year. The gentleman out of Salem, Oregon on a Suzuki.
There you see the sand tire.
They like to throw that sand out as quick as they go over it, and we're off. Taking a look now at number 83, getting the whole shot. Oh, that's 63 on the way. That's Kevin Krein. Kevin Krein, much of what we expected, and Botter is in second, number 102. He's getting the challenge right now. Keith Johnson, number 86. You see 86 on the left of your screen. Out in front, Kevin Krein.
You see they've worked the track quite a bit. Krein going through the hay bales.
That's Lance Smale.
Smale, I mean, I got these guys mixed up with the numbers we had last year. Not going anywhere. That's the difference between a tough box and a hay bale. Tough box would just wrap up in the bike and you go on your way. The hay bales break.
Here's where the action is for third, fourth, and fifth. Binkley and Botter going at it. Botter getting a challenge from behind.
Those kicker jumps coming down the straightaway really causing these guys some trouble. You see them trying to wheelie just before them, so they don't hit their front wheel on it. Then if you don't hit it straight, the back end kicks out to the side, all while they're trying to stop for that first turn.
Terlicki, who failed to qualify, going fifth in the last chance qualifier, is starting to make a move now, number 61. After passing Corey Botter, Terlicki out of Salem, Oregon on a Suzuki. Tom Welch now in fifth.
Here's where you can really see the difference and appreciate the raw talent and the experience of the guys that qualify straight to the main. Through these whoops right here, just trying to get it straight, all that roost flying, trying to pick a line. You got 4 guys going through there, all in a different line. And most of these guys going over the double, not all of them jumping the triple. Not quite as aggressive. Over the finish line jump, they're not jumping the whole thing there either. So what happens after these 2 semis is the track works in a little bit slower line. So you come back out for the main event and the best guys have to adjust to that.
A longer course, longer lap times, but how is it having more riders for a main event in Daytona, more so than the usual series events?
Well, for one thing, it beats up the track a little bit quicker. That's why it gets rougher, not just the sand. More riders out there tearing it up. Also, if you don't get a good start, it's very busy. You know, if you get a bad start in a regular Supercross with 20 riders, you got to work your way up a little ways. Here, you got to work your way up from. It seems like you're at the back of a parade.
White flag lap for Kevin Krein.
Coming into these switchbacks right here. This is where Doug Henry made his pass on Emig. That exciting finish. There was a deep rut right there. They've smoothed that out since through the whoops. Great shot from the back. You get to see the riders gripping the side of the bike with their knees, trying to hold it straight, letting the bike work up and down underneath them.
Really controlling the bike more with your legs than your arms.
It's like riding a bicycle with no hands. You use your legs a lot, use your hips. Hands are barely gripping the handlebars. Some of the best guys, they don't even get blisters because they don't hold on very tight. You're constantly moving your hands around on the grips. Most of the guys also use the clutch, and they keep that finger out there the entire time. And you try to tell an amateur to take their hand off that grip, put it out there in the clutch, and they look at you with this funny look like, you mean I got to let go of this grip?
On our final lap, Krein, Johnson, and Binkley. And there's Kevin Krein out of Maryland.
Coming
After
into
Binkley, Terlicki, Welch, and Botter in that order.
Yeah, this is that corner I was talking about that's so hard. He's drifting out into that berm at the end, but that berm, you really can't get out there and hit it too aggressive. You'll push right through it off into the grass.
So the checkers for Kevin Crine, and a nice confidence builder for him. And the battle for third is underway. Binkley and Terlicki. Terlicki takes the honors, number 61. So 6 more riders getting the transfer to the main event. We'll be right back after this. So Kevin Crine, number 63, winning the first semifinal round. As I said, a good confidence builder for him because he's gotten into the main the last 2 times, being 5th in the semifinal round. Marty Reed.
Yeah, and actually we got to make a little history note here. This is your first semifinal win ever in the history that you've been in running Supercross. Congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Just like I came out and did what I had to do and got the whole shot. That's the #1 game out here today. It's so rough, and came out and did what I had to do, and that's it.
Well, you know, Art made mention of the fact you've made a couple of last mains and things seem to be coming your way.
Yeah, I've only been riding for a month now. I just got this bike a little over 3 weeks ago, and I went out and did the last 3 Supercrosses. I've qualified for them. Now this is my 4th one in a row, so I'm on a good streak and getting in shape, and that's the name of the game, I guess.
We'll see you in the main.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks a lot, Marty. As we get set for our second semifinal round, we're looking right there at John Dowd, a 125 West rider who leads the 125 West by 1 point over David Villemin of France. Here's another one in the semifinal round that looked for action up front. Along with Dowd will be Michael Brown, number 100. Anthony Amaradio, Jason Frenette, Jean-Sebastian Waugh. Look for number 80 to get up near the front. Heath Voss.
John Dowd, a great sand rider. As this track gets more and more chewed up, starts to look a little bit more like Southwick, Art. I expect him to go really fast. Plus, he's one of the riders that's better conditioned, and this takes more out of you physically. But today it's a little more cool out there, the conditions than we've seen in the past. When it's hot, mixed with this rough track, that really takes it out of you.
Dowd, of course, last year riding in the 125 East and took the win right here at Daytona. Let's check out the start of John Dowd. Clearly, the man out in front with Brown, number 100, trying to challenge.
You can see back there at the back, some riders getting tangled and going off the track. This start, it is such an advantage. It's a necessity, really. You've got to get out there in the top 2 or 3. If you get stuck in the middle of the pack, it's lotto. You could go down.
Caton and Amaradio are 3 and 4 as Brown and Dowd battle it out. This is more like a track that Brown might have been used to in the GPs last year.
Absolutely. And I think it's good for both of these guys. And you can see them doubling right there. Neither one of them wanting to go for the triple. The face of that triple, very rutted.
And the pass made by Michael Brown of Honda of Troy.
Now the first lap here at Daytona is so different than the first lap anywhere else, because at a stadium, you can go sit in the seats and pretty much look at the track, see the whole thing, and see what you're going to do when you go out there for your race. But here, you're isolated from the track. And because the track takes up so much area, you really can't look at it. The first look you get is the first lap of the race, and you're going, whoa, that got deep. Whoa, that bump wasn't there. And you're in for a few surprises.
Mike Brown out in front of John Dowd. Caton and Amaradio battling it out for third. And Waugh is right in the mix there, number 80, the French-Canadian. Waugh trying to make a move, really looking for some space. Look at Amaradio, number 34.
Working their way through that mogul section before they get to this long straightaway. And I looked at that mogul section last night, Art, and it's just messed up. There's not a good line through there. You just get through there how you have to. And the thing that I like about it versus just the whoop section, Roy making the pass.
Amaradio is trying to qualify for every main event, but he's only qualified for 2, getting that route through the LCQ.
Yeah, see these guys getting kicked all over the place. It's getting rougher and rougher, but the difference between the moguls really and the whoops are lined up straight across the racetrack. It's one bump, another, and depending how long the section is, basically they're straight across. The moguls are all over the place, so the back end really starts to kick around side to side.
Jean-Sebastian Waugh in third place as Amaradio tries to come up on his back rubber now. So it's pretty well defined. Brown, Dowd, Waugh, Amaradio, and Caton. 1:23.7 lap time.
It's pretty fast considering 122s approaching 121 was the quickest lap in our heat races from the absolute favorites, the best riders out here. I was just thinking, Art, this track has pretty much seen it all. It's been through quite a bit. My dad used to dig holes out there and dig them pretty deep, so the water table is right there. So they'd start to get muddy in the bottom. It's rained. They've run backwards and forwards across the pavement. I've even ridden over telephone poles here.
Well, you've been around this track a long time, David. You also won, we might mention, the Daytona Supercross.
That was a good feeling, but it was even more exciting to turn around after I'd crossed the finish line and see O'Mara flying. He must have jumped 120 feet in a battle with Johnson to try to hold on to that second place spot. Anybody that remembers that, it was pretty exciting from my vantage point.
Marty's with Dean Baker. That's the mechanic of Michael Brown. Marty?
Yes, and your man ran a 122. I mean, that's as quick as the heat race.
That's what my team manager, Eric Kehoe, told me. Right now we're trying something new, trying to get him to race his lap time so that he's not worrying about anyone else. The first heat race we had some problems with him tightening up a little bit, so we're trying something new, and hopefully we keep running those lap times.
Well, I better let you get back to it because he's going to be coming by here pretty soon. He's going to be looking for that board, guys.
We got two French Canadians up here in the top 6. Jason Fredet and Jean-Sébastien Roy. We take a look right now at Brown, though, our leader.
Something to do with the French. The French Canadians, they're really making a statement in Supercross.
They certainly have. We'll be right back to the finish. For the finish of our second semifinal round as we see him battling it out. Look at that. John Dowd and Michael Brown. Michael Brown, number 100. Raced in the GPs last year. John Dowd, number 9. Battling it out, 1 and 2 here in our second semifinal. Amaradio has moved into 3rd.
Still going for the double right there at the far end. Face that jump, just gets rutted out so fast. It's too much of a risk to try to go for that triple, because as you gas it into the face of that jump, that you compress the suspension even more, and you sink into the rut, it drags all the speed off the bottom of your bike and risk a big nosedive.
Brown trying to hold on despite some flashes of potential. Has not done really well in his first year back in AMA Supercross. His best finish was an 8th at the Kingdome in Seattle. Of course, he had a crash in Houston that made the highlight reel when Pichon's bike came up and hit his helmet.
I talked to him about that before San Diego. I said, hey, we showed that from several angles. How did it feel from your vantage point? He just almost didn't even remember it. He was like, oh, that was nothing.
John Dowd has taken over first place from Michael Brown. Back and forth we go. This is a good break for Dowd as far as the pressurized points race of the 125 West. He has a tendency to feel the pressure, David. But here in the 250s.
Dowd's got something hanging off the side of his bike there. I can't figure out what it is. Kind of spot. I don't know if that's affecting him right now. It appears not to be.
White flag, final lap.
This guy's having a hard time trying to jump that whole plateau now, because when you land, not only is there a corner right there, but the corner is just full of big bumps. So you land right in those if you jump the whole thing.
Number 9. People kid him because he's the oldest contender out there in the 125s by far. But John Dowd got started in his racing career later than most people, and also went directly to 250s. And so Yamaha had that need to fill the 125 spot. Dowd had eligibility remaining. Dowd, Brown, Amaradio in 3rd with Waugh in 4th, and Fredet in 5th with Caton in 6th. That's the top 6 that are destined for the transfer spot.
Dowd right there getting creative. I think that's maybe a boot buckle or something hanging off, and he had to square that corner back there and get a good run at the triple. Sat down to get more compression. Working through those moguls, he tried to take a line off to the side right there to work past the back marker and almost went off the track.
Dowd last week got a good start in 3rd place in the main event, but crashed to 14th and then ended up placing 11th.
Dowd's one of those guys you just never know when he's going to have a great ride. It can be anywhere. It can be in the mud. It can be in the sand. It can be when it's the hottest.
The Sand King, they call him, at Team Yamaha, takes the checkered flag. The winner of our second semifinal round, and it looks like it'll be Dowd, Brown, Amaradio, Roy, Fredet, and Caton. So John Dowd taking the checkered flag here in our second semifinal round at Daytona. Mike Brown, good battle between the two for a while. Amaradio, Sébastien Roy, Fredet, and Caton moving on to the main event. Let's go down to Marty Reed, who's with John Dowdy.
Well, this is what you saw flapping in the breeze. It's the buckle. It didn't seem to slow John Dowd down. You like this track. You won the 125 last year.
Yeah, I usually like this place. Unfortunately, today I've been feeling a little bit tight. I haven't really felt like I've been up to speed so far, but I felt a little better in that qualifier there. I got myself going a little bit more smooth, I think, than I was before. So hopefully I can just relax some more and get going in the main. I think if I can relax, I can do good here.
We had you at a 123. That's competitive with the heat races.
Oh yeah, and the first heats, I don't know. I felt much better than I did in the heat. I was just real tight. I just didn't feel too aggressive and stuff. So hopefully I found a few little lines and a few things here and there that I could do different, and hopefully I can find some more in the main and just work on those and stay smooth out there.
Guys, one thing he doesn't have is a lot of stress from last year. Remember at this time his wife was getting ready to give birth. He doesn't have to worry about that this year.
Absolutely.
Well, sometimes that's kind of good, though. You get your mind off the race.
Okay, Ricky Carmichael getting ready for the main here on the 125, and something happened between the heat and the main?
Yeah, I was getting ready for the main, and I go to grab my helmet, and it's gone.
Somebody stole it?
I guess so. It wasn't there, and I was panicking, couldn't find nothing, and it's gone, I guess.
Are you superstitious?
No, I'm good to go.
All right, that's a frightening thought for everybody else, guys.
Well, that is some kind of development, Marty. As we take a look at the 125 East points race, you see Carmichael simply dominating. Raynard, Lytle, Sellards, and Karsten in the top 5, but Clark and LaRusso are really knocking on the door to get into the top 5. I would think something like a helmet would be very superstitious, David Bailey.
Well, it doesn't sound like Ricky is. It doesn't seem to bother him, but I am, on the other hand, a little bit superstitious. And my helmet, I was using a prototype one before the first national one time at Gainesville, and the AMA didn't approve it in time, so I had to switch and go through the pits and borrow one. Borrowed it from a guy named Alan King, and was not feeling too good about the day. It started off pretty rough, but I ended up winning it, so it didn't seem to really matter.
Ricky Carmichael, number 6, trying to make it 3 for 3 on the season as he takes a look back to last year, his first professional year. Here at Daytona, it was a real learning process.
I rode a really good heat race, got the whole shot, everything was good. I won by 20 seconds in my heat race, and I tell you what, I was happy about that. Going into the main event, got a really good start, had the whole shot, and crashed in the first turn, and I was dead last. I must have been 20 seconds behind. Everybody was gone, and then I worked my way back up to 6th, and handlebars all bent down. I cased the triple halfway to go, hurt my wrist, the one that I broke, and I don't know. I think I could have won it, but I didn't. So I'm looking to go there this year and win. I know I can do it. It's a long race. It's going to be rough. So I'm looking forward to it.
Ricky Carmichael now with his mechanic, and Chad very cool and confident with his rider David Bailey, who certainly has matured since last year's crashing episode.
Well, it's a learning process. Last year he was a young kid, and he definitely wanted to win, and he would do anything that it would take. Got a little too aggressive going in the first corner. What we're seeing is a more mature Carmichael, but we're also seeing a much faster Ricky Carmichael, a lot more confidence to go with it. And he could probably go down in that first corner this year and still come back and have a real shot at winning with the speed that he's got. Raynard is going to be tough for him because Raynard rides good in the sand. He looked great in his heat race, so it should be an interesting race between those two.
The great crowd here at Daytona International Speedway anticipating an outstanding ride by this young man who has shown so much dominance in the 125 ranks. Robbie Raynard, number 21 in the Suzuki, has showed some spots of speed and good maturity, with Raynard taking 2 second places so far this year, sandwiching an 8th place at Atlanta where he had some problems, an early crash. 32nd board is up as we're just about set for a 125 main event. Most of these young men destined for superstardom later on and advancing to the 250 ranks. For those who are just joining our sport, the 125 division is divided up into East-West divisions. Now, 5-second board is showing. We see number 21, Robbie Raynard. It's get nervous time. 5 seconds. It'll drop any minute now, any second. They're off, and the 125 main event from Daytona is underway, and look at that. No question about it. way out in front with Brock Sellards in second place. Brock Sellards on the FMF number 36. He's had 2 fourth-place finishes so far this year.
Pretty good.
Ricky Carmichael's right where he wants to be, David.
Yeah, he's where he wants to be, and Raynard's not that far back. He's running 5th right now. As long as Ricky doesn't disappear too early, these guys still have a chance to battle.
So it's Ricky Carmichael, Sellards, Shea Bentley, and Jimmy Neese in that order. Where's Raynard?
Right there, number 21, just
there he is.
behind this battle right here. And if he wants to challenge Carmichael, he's got to get through those guys within the first lap or two. Otherwise, Ricky's gone, which already looks like he is anyway.
So Bentley has moved into second place in front of Sellards. Then it's Neese and Robbie Raynard in good position to attack Neese.
This is going to be a great battle, but just like what we've seen the past couple of weeks, it's not for the lead. You take Carmichael out of this, and this is an incredible class. A lot of people saying Carmichael, he's just going to be the next Jeremy McGrath. He is basically doing what Jeremy McGrath is doing. And the only reason he's not McGrath right now is McGrath's still here. Carmichael is same kind of phenomenon, just unbelievable. Heads above this class.
Boy, you get a good idea of speed on that down level shot now as Sellards battling it out with Neese and Raynard. Quite a triad right there. Number 583 is Bentley. Bentley got the whole shot in the 125 East opener in the first race. Sellards getting out in front there of Jim Neese.
Well, that'd be a fun corner to get into with 3 or 4 guys right next to you, because you don't know what's going to happen. You can go inside, outside, and make mistakes there because it's so slick. Just to the outside of that corner, Mitch Payton sitting there watching his rider.
LaRusso went down, and for Danny Smith fans, he got a slow start in 9th. A Western rider who's just riding for experience here on the East, not in the top 10. You can race in the other division for experience. Ricky Carmichael in first with Brock Sellards in second. There's Jimmy Neese, number 42, Raynard on the inside. Number 21, Raynard making another move. Goes up another notch on the ladder, David.
Beautiful shot. That camera guy taking his chances right there. Raynard flying by on the inside, taking over the line, but he also left it on a lot longer, taking a chance to still stay in that inside berm and make that pass stick.
The quickest lap so far, 121.
Yeah, that's just amazing. Carmichael, I could talk about this guy pretty much all day. He's just that good. Raynard really impresses me too, Art. I mean, if you put Raynard and Carmichael together somewhere out during the week and have a riding contest, they're pretty evenly matched. They're both very skilled, great balance. They can both do all the tricks, but in a race, it's a whole nother deal. You got the start, you got the other riders, decisions to make, and Carmichael's got to figure it out a little bit better than Raynard right now.
Carmichael gunning for 4 for 4, has quicker times than the 250s. Sellards and Raynard in the battle for second. Here comes Robbie. Robbie pulls up on that triple. Didn't have quite the right angle on it.
That was a beautiful shot. That's such a hard triple to do as well. What happened to Sellards had to really brake hard. That's why it looked like Raynard might get him. But he was setting himself up to be able to do that triple, and he opened up even a little more distance.
122 flat. Maximum effort now. He's telling Robbie Raynard as Raynard goes zipping by. In the opener, he gave us some hope that he might challenge Brock Sellards. Holding on. Oh, good battle for second place. Number 36, Sellards. Everybody wondered what this kid could do with a good start.
Well, if Raynard doesn't find a way around before they get back to that section, Sellards better protect that inside, because Raynard is smoking down that inside, missing all those bumps.
Sellards went from 14th to the 4th of the opener, showing good promise. Brock Sellards, number 36.
The triples have really been the story this year, Art. Raynard seems to a little shy of these triples. Once again, right there, the difference. If he'd have jumped at it, he had a good line, may have made the pass.
He was shy on other racetracks on the triples, saying, hey, I thought it was faster doing the doubles.
I don't know about that.
I don't think that's the case here. Sellards holding him off so far. He had a few races with Pro Circuit last year. Looked impressive at St. Louis with a 3rd place finish. 4th at Charlotte. His dad helped him get started about the age of 4.
Now, it's been in the family. He's been a great rider. A lot of anticipation when he came into the professional ranks, and he was going to burst onto the scene. And you know, the difference between he and RC is that he's had a lot of injuries. Carmichael really, I mean, he's had some, but he hasn't battled back from shoulders and wrists and knees and all those problems that Raynard's had, and that's in Raynard's mind every time he goes to take a big chance, which you have to do to keep up with this kid, and the chance of going down and twisting something else.
Here's Raynard as he goes over the finish line jump. Raynard now with a 10-second lead on second place Brock Sellards. Sellards bobbling just a little bit, but Raynard, he had a 10-second lead by the halfway point in the last race at Tampa, David Bailey, and already he's taken that advantage here.
Right.
Let's go down to Marty.
We're down here with Mitch Payton, who is the owner of the number 6 rocket ship that's going around this track. Your boy is running quicker than the 250s.
Yeah, he looks really good. I mean, he's going really fast. I mean, it's more of an outdoor track, and he really likes that kind of stuff.
How are you going to keep him from becoming complacent? I mean, he's killing this field.
I mean, we got the outdoor series to worry about. This isn't done. Obviously, you know, last year he led a lot of races, but he wants to make sure that he wins the series, so that's more important. And then probably walk into a couple 250 races.
It's a nice problem to have, huh, guys?
Right. The mentor of number 6, Ricky Carmichael, I mistakenly called it Raynard a little bit earlier before we went to Mitch, but Mitch is really becoming an icon in the 125 racing, is he not, David?
Yes, he is, and I just got word that Danny Smith is out, so bad news for Danny. That young rider's been showing some promise. Carmichael, a little mistake right there. It's the only one I've seen so far.
Ricky Carmichael leads our 125 main by 17 seconds. This is the battle behind him for second place. Brock Sellards, number 36 on the FMF Honda. And number 21, Robbie Raynard in the Primal Suzuki. Sellards.
A little out of shape, but that corner just promotes it. I haven't seen anybody go through there 3 times the same all day, not even Carmichael. And Carmichael won his heat race by 21 seconds. And I thought, well, okay, he didn't have Sellards and Raynard in there, but now he's putting that same distance on those guys in less laps. That's how fast he's going right now.
Looked like, David, that Sellards might have kind of knocked the wind out of himself, and now he's beginning to recover in front of Robbie Raynard as we've passed the halfway mark now here in the 125 main event.
Well, I think he's excited to be still where he's at, holding off Raynard right here. Raynard has been beating him. And anytime you have a good race like this and you keep somebody that has been beating you back there a little longer, you get fired up. And then when he's back there for 4 or 5 laps and he hasn't made a real threat, you start feeling like, well, why do I need to worry about this guy? I'll just keep riding my own race.
Well, we're going to see if that injury is still bothering Brock Sellards a bit. We're going to see what endurance comes into play right now. Robbie Raynard said, I'm in the best shape this year as I've ever been. The young lad from Oklahoma who came out of the amateur ranks with all kinds of amateur titles, signed early with Kawasaki, 16 years old into the pro ranks. And really, besides an arena cross championship, hasn't done what he wants to do in supercross action. Let's go down to Marty.
Yeah, I'm down here with a very happy Mark Enright. Your boy's riding the best race of his life right now.
Riding real good. Brock's a real good rider. He's come back from being sick last week, and we've done a lot of testing, a lot of riding. He's come back really strong, so we're really good for this race. Well prepared. Everything's going really good. We're shooting for first. Right now we're running second. We're going to try to hold on to that and just do the best we can.
Is there anything you can do to catch that first place guy, Carmichael?
Pretty much stay on the gas. Brock's a real strong rider. He's got a lot of endurance. If we can hang tough and hopefully catch Ricky, maybe Rick can make a mistake or something and everything goes well, we'll just see.
Didn't want to interrupt you guys. Didn't mean to interrupt, but he is now in third as Raynard finding a way, not using the triple to get out in front to get into second place and try to challenge this guy who's pretty much long gone, Ricky Carmichael.
No, Carmichael's going to have to stop for a sandwich. He's so far ahead. It's going to take some real luck for anybody behind him to have a shot. He's just riding a comfortable pace right now, and he's still pulling away.
Ricky Carmichael, Raynard, 1 and 2, Sellards, Nice, and Perolio. You're seeing Nice, number 42, number 41 is Sean Perolio.
That looked a little sketcy there. Nice getting over that triple, had a little bit of a nosedive, even took his foot off a little bit, like, whoa, they got close. When you're up in the air like that, if it looks like you're coming up a little short, you can tense up. And he had just enough speed to get in there and make that corner.
You must get excited, David Bay. That's the first whoa I've heard from you all season long, and we're at the halfway point of the season.
Well, it's just these triples are big air. When you're up there like that and you feel like you might be coming up short, you make some funny mannerisms in the air.
Perolio trying to find a way around Jimmy Nice.
Parolio, with a 6th in the opener, did not qualify for the race in Tampa. All kinds of bad luck. Jimmy Neese, a similar situation, did not qualify after a 6th place in Atlanta. Robbie Horton starting to move up, David.
That straightaway right there leading into the triple getting rougher and rougher. That's a triple that kind of ragging a little bit on Raynard. Come on, Raynard, jump that thing, but it's looks easy from here. Down there, that straightaway is getting rougher and rougher. And the ruts in the face of that jump are getting tough. And pretty soon, Carmichael will be the only one left jumping it.
Ricky Carmichael, who last year went down early in the race, went from last place to 6th. So you know he's got the speed. He won his heat race last year by 20 seconds. Well, this year he's just putting it all together. Really no competition here in the 125 East from Ricky Carmichael. Next year, his contract says he has to defend a possible #1 plate should he get it, but also would take on some 250 action in the Western Division races.
That's going to be exciting because I was talking to O'Mara, who's very good friends with Carmichael. I actually kind of spotted him. And I was asking him a little bit, I go, does he ever ride 250 during the week? And he made this face like, wait till you see him on a 250. So that's going to be a good one.
And there is a possibility, too, Mitch Payton, as the Honda stopwatch starts, we'll see a big gap between 1st and 2nd place. There is a chance he might ride a 250 at Dallas.
That'd be a good place to show it, his speed, because that's a hard, slick racetrack. It requires a lot of throttle control and finesse, and that's what he's good at.
Ricky Carmichael looking for his 7th career 125 victory.
Seconds ticking by before Raynard comes around. That's a big lead, Art.
26-second lead.
That's a half a lap lead in a regular Supercross track.
So Ricky Carmichael having his own way in front of friends and family from Florida here at Daytona.
Over that finish line jump, just beautiful. It makes it look so easy. The momentum that he's got. He runs his handlebars really high. I think he's got to have his handlebars higher than anybody. It seems like he and Lusk are having a contest, who they can get him up there the highest. And he runs his levers up real high. You see his middle finger. Some guys use their index finger. He uses his middle finger. Bradshaw did that. Somebody else I can't think of right now. Eckman doesn't even put his fingers out there. He just uses it when he needs it. Most of the riders will keep a finger out there, and he even does it on the start. Watch him on the start. He only uses one finger on the clutch.
Another thing that surprised me when I went down to see the bikes, the handlebars are very, very flexible, but the mechanics were telling me it's to cut down vibration from the engine and the motors.
Right, and you get a 123 lap time, which is pretty fast, and he's just out there cruising now. And you know, everybody has their own preference. Bob Hanna, I couldn't even ride his bike. I couldn't even see where I was going when I'm riding his bike because there was so much vibration. He liked that thing, no rubber mounts. He liked that thing to be very rigid and feel everything that the motorcycle was doing, where some of the other guys liked the rubber mounts. Johnny O'Mara, as a matter of fact, liked his bars swept back quite a bit further and a lot more flex in there to take out the vibration.
The 125s go 15 laps. That means we are less than 3 laps away from the checkered flag. The 250s coming up next. They'll go for 20 laps.
Over that plateau again, hits the downside. Jersey untucked. It's a good day. That thing never stays tucked in.
Flapping in the breeze. We take a look at the Suzuki leaderboard. Carmichael, Raynard, Sellards, Neitz, Parolio. Ricky Carmichael is looking to tie the record for 125 East wins to start a season. Damon Huffman.
Beautiful line choice all through those switchbacks. Not going out and using that enticing main groove and getting caught up in all those bumps coming out. Sets himself up beautiful for the next straightaway around these bumps over this triple.
Here's our battle for 5th place. That's Neese.
Coming into that tricky corner. No one's really figured out the best line through there. I don't think there is one. And you see the difference between Carmichael getting over that plateau. Carries so much more speed through there.
Pocaroba, Anthony Pocaroba, number 40. And we go back to Parolio, 41. 83 is Pavoni. Jim Pavoni in 6th place as we move back to Parolio. But I was going to say that with a win here today, and the white flag is flying for Ricky Carmichael. That would give him 4 straight wins to open the season, which would tie him for the record for the 125 East with Ezra Lusk in '94 and Brian Swink in '92, each of them winning 4 straight to start a season. I mentioned that Huffman in the West started the season with 6 straight wins, David.
Well, he's headed for that, and he's headed for the triple right in front of the grandstands also. He knows how to get the crowd into it. Well, it looked like he was going to do something, and then he overjumped that triple a little. He said, I
just put his fist in the air.
I better just land this. It didn't go right. He's going, can I get a do-over on that?
Yeah, I bet he does it afterwards.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
The fans are going to be looking for it. Second place, Robbie Rayner, number 21.
Well, you know, he didn't get up there and challenge Carmichael, but if you can't win, second's going to have to do, and he had to earn it.
Boy, he'd be leading this division if it were last year.
Oh, we'd be pumping him up, boy, and going, look at this Rayner guy. But Carmichael's overshadowing him right now.
Carmichael and Rayner. Rayner, it would be his 3rd second-place finish on the season.
One more time past Mitch Payton.
The big turn.
A quick glance over there saying, hey, boss, how am I looking?
Get the bonus check ready, boss. And Ricky Carmichael, 4 for 4 on the 125 Eastern season. Rayner just now 2 corkscrew turns and a plateau and the beach before the finish line jump. A good ride for Robbie, but he's got a superhuman 125 rider in front of him.
Well, you got to wonder what would have happened if they had got off first or second and Robbie would have passed him right away like he did last week. What kind of a battle they may have had, because he got off in 5th and he had to work his way up, and RC was just gone by that point.
So the checkers as RC makes a tour of the Daytona track.
That's a great feeling right there. 1984, I got to ride up there on the banking and see the crowd up close. If you don't get to do that, then you're missing something in your career.
Getting close to the fans, and we'll be back to join them in just a moment. Ricky Carmichael, his 4th win in 4th races. Robbie Rayner, his 3rd second-place finish. Brock Sellards, Jimmy Nish, Sean Perolio, our top 5. And as we look at 6 through 10, our finishers here at the Daytona 125 main event, let's go down to Marty Reed with our winner.
Yeah, I'm just shaking my head, guys. I mean, it doesn't matter if anybody rips off his helmet. You won by 37 seconds.
Oh, that's nice. You know, I got a good start. I got the whole shot, actually, and man, I'll tell you what, it feels great to get a whole shot. It's hard for me in Supercross to get good starts. I don't know why, but I'll tell you what, my Kawasaki 1-800 Collect Pro Circuit Axo bike, Bridgestone tires hooked up, and I tell you what, man, my bike is great. And, you know, my mechanic, Chad Watts, is doing a great job, and, you know, if it wasn't for these people, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And I've been working my butt off, you know, and I don't know, I'm happy.
You ran 21-second laps, 1 minute 21-second laps. That's quicker than the 250s. Do you know that?
No, I didn't know. I saw some 21s and 22s and 23s, and once I got out front, I just started playing it cool. You know, I wanted to gap them guys quick, so that way I could relax, and that's what I did. And I tell you what, man, I'm just looking forward to next weekend. Back in the domes, don't have to worry about it raining. I'm happy.
Yeah, but he won Daytona, guys, in only his 2nd attempt. It's 4 in a row.
As we take a look at the 125 East point standings, put the old century mark up there for Ricky Carmichael on top of everybody. Robbie Rayner running a strong 2nd. The real battle, of course, for 3rd with Casey Lytle and Brock Sellards, 2 of the support Honda teams. Lytle with Honda of Troy and Brock Sellards with FMF. Battling it out for 3rd place in our point standings. Okay, as the celebration gets underway for the 125s, the highlight of Daytona Supercross, the 250s with Jeremy McGrath, Ezra Lusk, Larry Ward, Doug Henry, and the rest of the guys going for the big bucks. They're coming up next. Bike Week in Daytona. And this is Art Eckman along with David Bailey just prior to the 250 main Supercross action here at the Daytona International Speedway. Daytona was the very first official Supercross way back in 1972, and a great history prevails. Let's take a look at the top winners. Jeff Stanton, 4 consecutive wins, heads the list, along with Mike Kudrowski. His 3 wins were consecutive victories. Bob Hanna, he had 5 or 6 years apart from wins number 2 and 3. Let's go down now with the winningest rider here at Daytona. Marty Reed is with Jeff Stanton.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't say it was Marty Reed who won those 4, because I can't even stand up on these things, but this guy can. Jeff Stanton, they mentioned already, you know, you've got this thing 4 times. Ezra, as we all know, your rider is very aggressive, and this is a track where you almost have to detune him a little, don't you?
Exactly. I just kind of had to pump him with a little confidence. Maybe he was lacking a little bit in confidence. I said, Ezra, you're way fit. You got more physical fitness than anybody out here. If you're in the top 5, just sit back and follow him a little bit. Learn some lines, and then slowly work your way up. I said, those guys are going to get tired. I know you're not going to get tired, and be on the podium.
Did you have to describe that feeling of what it's like to win this?
No, you know what? I don't like to toot my own horn to my guys. I don't like that. So I just try to get them to feel better about themselves. What I done here was outstanding. The 4 victories here was the best races of my life, definitely. But I don't like to toot my own horn to my guys, because I don't feel that pursues a good image.
Well, I'll tell you what, you are a great image for this sport. It's fun still working with you. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. You got to go to work, and guess what, guys? So do I.
Thank you.
David Bailey, Jeff Stanton, what a great advisor to have for riders. There's no one that worked any harder in conditioning and in planning. I think he felt a little bit like a Pete Rose in that he had to make up maybe for a little less natural talent with hard work.
Right. He and Lusk share that. I think they both work very hard and they relate to each other well, and I think with their conversations they understand each other, exactly what they're trying to do out there.
Here's the Suzuki point standings. McGrath, of course, with the big edge on Windham, but look at Larry Ward starting to make a move. Ezra Lusk is within striking distance of second place, and Mike LaRocco, if his heat race gives us any indication, he might be able to move up the ladder here at Daytona.
Now, he's another one of those riders that comes on strong towards the end. The lap times have come down somewhat, about 6 seconds since practice, but still, we're looking at close to a 30-minute moto here, and that's where Mike LaRocco starts to get strong at the end.
As we check out the Suzuki starting grid, along with the visuals, you see there Jeremy McGrath, Randy Lawrence, his mechanic, and there's, of course, the guy that put it all together, the Chaparral Yamaha deal with McGrath, Larry Brooks, the team manager. Jeremy, as we mentioned, still looking for his 50th career victory, which is a phenomenal mark. From his rookie season, he has won 58% of his Supercrosses.
You see him lined up just to the inside of the starter box. Just to his left is Jeff Emick, number 1 and 2, and then number 3, Ezra Lusk, just on the other side. So 3 guys that you would expect to be up in there, perhaps all 3 of them on the podium. Wouldn't that be something? Number 1, 2, and 3, they're all right next to each other on the starting line, and Jeff anticipating a long main event here. He won it last year. I'm sure Jeremy, his mechanic, is trying to anchor him there and say, hey, you know, you did it before, you can do it again. You looked good out there in the heat race. Put that behind you and just change that last lap around a little bit.
Here's the guy that won the last race in Tampa, Lee McCollum, his mechanic, talking with Larry Ward. Ward very nervously wiping the forehead before putting on the goggles. You don't want to get those goggles on too early.
Well, it's just, you get hot in there, and you see they dump the goggles upside down. Sometimes guys carry them around and a little piece of sand can get in there. When you put them on, you don't notice till you get out there and hit a jump, and that starts bouncing around, gets in your eye, and you're all messed up.
Look at the riders back and forth, going through their routine, trying to get warmed up.
This is real fidget time. There's a great shot, both number 1 and 2, Emick and McGrath. These guys will reach down and check their gas probably about 150 times before the skate drops. It's just one of the things that you got to do.
5 seconds before it could go any moment now. Let's see who gets the whole shot. Daytona is underway. And look at that, Jeff Emick once again, just like he did in his heat race. Ezra Lusk, number 3, right behind him in second place. Oh, good start. Here goes Michael Craig. Craig loves the sand at times, even though he's done well in hardpack. He won at Tampa. in 94.
This is really good news for Jeff Emig, because he's gotten off to a great start again. That's good enough, but then he's got Mike Craig. I don't know if Mike Craig is going to go right after Emig right away, but what will be tough for everyone to do is pass Mike Craig. That's a big plus for Jeff right now.
And it is Henry. Henry moving into 4th place now. So it is Jeff Emig, Michael Craig, Lusk battling it out with Henry. Henry goes to the inside of Lusk and takes over 3rd.
Henry wants it. There he goes. Right past Craig. Craig a little bobble there. Loses another spot, maybe to Jeremy. And Henry, I saw him out there last night in the dark, walking this track. I already pointed that out, but that just displayed to me the hunger, the need. He wants to get himself back on track. He needs to do it here at Daytona and give Yamaha the biggest win they can have this year.
Michael Craig right behind Henry. Craig goes to the inside. Henry to the outside. Jeremy McGrath is behind Craig, number 2. And there's Ezra Lusk behind him, number 3. So we've got a good, exciting start here for 20 laps now at the Daytona Supercross.
Well, what you have is what we had in Heat 3. You got Emig leading it, McGrath and Henry back there behind him. This time you got Lusk joining the party, and Albie, who rode good in his heat race, had some problems, but he was fast. He's up in there challenging Craig now.
McGrath behind Henry, Lusk behind him, and Craig drops back. Greg Albertine also starting to make a move now on Michael Craig. Team Suzuki's number 7. Jimmy Button's behind him. Larry Ward behind Button. And then Mike LaRocco as we go deep into the field.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with Craig. You know, he had the injury, came right back and didn't even miss a beat. Right back in there with good starts, challenging. I watched him in practice. He got right behind Jeremy. Everyone looked about the same in practice in terms of speed, but he got right back in there with Jeremy and just copied everything he did. He learned. He's putting that to use right now. You can bet on it.
Craig and Albie going at it. You see Windham number 8 going into the picture there.
Button making a move. Getting by Craig on the triple into the next triple. Now he's got his sights set on Lusk, so Button's going to the front.
Jimmy Button with 3 podiums this year. He's led 14 laps on this season.
What Emmett can just keep his fingers crossed for, and you know Jeremy Albrecht, his mechanic signal right now, is hoping that this battle right here between Henry and Jeremy McGrath, Henry clipping a hay bale, these guys are on the edge. He's hoping this battle right here, these guys can start thinking about themselves, kind of blocking each other, and they lose time to Emmett.
1:22.2.
It's not even as fast as Carmichael. Button's gone down in the whoops just before that corner there.
Jeremy McGrath in 2nd place in front of Henry. There's Button. As David mentioned, Button going down.
Yep, that's a tricky section. It's just a bunch of jumps heading into a corner. Doesn't look like anything special, but the timing there is critical, and he just found out.
Our leader is Jeff Emig, number 1, but can he hold off the force of Jeremy McGrath and Doug Henry? We'll find out when we come back. Art Eckman along with David Bailey and Marty Reed. The main event for the 250s at Daytona. It's Emig, McGrath, Henry, Lusk, and Albertine, our top 5.
Then the pace is furious right now. These guys, they're jumping a 70-foot triple on the front straightaway, and they're like, the hell with landing on the downside of this thing. I'm going to jump clear out past it. They're jumping 5 feet past it, just trying to maintain momentum.
LaRocco, number 5, and Larry Ward. 1:20.3.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. The pace had picked up, and the lap times show it. There you see Windham right there behind Ward, moving up, getting by Ryan Hughes.
Hughes, number 10.
He's moving up too, but didn't get the start he needed. He's so far behind the leaders right now.
LaRocco, he's got the natural talent, David, to be in the top 5 and not have a finish better than 4th this year.
Look at all these riders. You know, there's so much talent now that if you don't get a good start and you're not riding really good that particular day, you don't move up. You know, you stay put, and you can't be disappointed with the way you're riding. You go back to the pits, sit in a chair, and go, you know, I'm happy with the way I rode, but there's 8 guys ahead of me that are all that good.
Throttle problem for Button, trying to unbend what was bent in that crash.
Well, what happens is they're going to have to change it, because what he did is he broke the housing in the throttle. It looks to me like it's bent on the end, so that it won't return. Oh, actually, he's loosening it, so he slid it out on the handlebar. it slid in, so it's like cruise control. If you let go of that throttle, it'd still stay wide open. He slid it out so it'd return.
Look at this. Jeremy McGrath now picking up on Jeff Emig. We'll have a battle for the lead any minute now.
Well, he's definitely, he learned in that heat race. I thought Jeremy was maybe giving these other guys a little bit of light and a little bit of confidence on him by not going out there and just running away with the heat race. But he learned he's going to put it all to him when it counts the most.
1:22.4 for Jeff Emig now as his time starting to sag a little bit after good finishes in the first 3 races. The bottom dropped out for Emig. Got the whole shot in Atlanta, ended up in 13th place. 4th place start at Seattle, ended up in 14th again. And then 3 times got a 14th place start. So it really, nothing adds up with this guy, Jeff Emig, this year. Jeremy McGrath trying to find a way around him for his 50th career Supercross victory. Jeff Emig trying to battle with pride and get his first win on the season. Our Suzuki leaderboard, Emig, McGrath, Henry in 3rd, Ezra Lusk in 4th, and Greg Albertine, a very competent 5th place ride for Albertine.
And that interview that Marty got with Jeff Stanton just before the race, McGrath almost off the track there, nice save, but that interview with Jeff, he said, Ezra, stay in the top 5, watch those guys, learn a little bit, be there at the end. He's right there.
The points leader, Jeremy McGrath, who has a 46-point lead. Let's take a look on the replay.
Well, they're squaring this corner to get the angle on this triple. Jeremy jumps it, but he's angled too far to the left. Watch this save. Lands in that loose stuff. That's actually been a berm that's been pushed up. That could have been it right there. He can look back on that if he was able to get around and win this thing and go, boy, that could have spoiled the whole day.
5 laps into the race, Emig trying to hold on for dear life against Jeremy McGrath. McGrath just looking for the right opportunity, showing him a tire every chance he gets.
You know, it surprises me a little bit, and maybe the track's changed and I just can't see from here, but Emig was jumping that finish line plateau, the same as Carmichael was in the 125, and he stopped doing it now. He was making time there. No one else was doing it.
Is it a confidence factor? Jimmy Button down again as the yellow flag waves. They go streaming by him now, our leaders.
Yeah, he is just completely out of sync now. I mean, when you make a mistake like that, he was going to the front. He had worked up to the back of Lusk. He could see the leaders, and to see that all disappear in a moment really messes with you. He went back out after getting the throttle fixed, down again, so his concentration is just completely messed up for him.
So Jeremy McGrath, chaparral Yamaha teammate, having his 2nd tough race in a row. Jeremy Albrecht, 123 the sign. Be strong as he's out in front. Jeff Emig trying to hold off Jeremy McGrath. 122.5 is now the time. Henry in 3rd place, Lusk in 4th, and Albertine still holding on to 5th.
It's kind of turned into a 2-way battle for 1st and for 3rd. Now Henry seems a little bit concerned. Maybe it just appears that way from this angle with Lusk back there behind him, as is Emig. Emig's starting to ride a little bit more McGrath's race, which is allowing McGrath to stay right there. And it's in the favor of McGrath, but one thing I really like about Emig, and he does this every time, we'll see if he does it here. If Jeremy can pass him, Emig always gets you right back. That just throws the guy out of sync.
The track holding up well. We expect ruts here at Daytona, but it's holding up very well.
This is a beautiful section through the whoops. Normally you'd see ruts through there, but it's just perfect. You can go pretty much anywhere you want. Let the back end just dance around under power. If you let off through there, that's when you got problems.
Okay, as McGrath tries to find a way around Emig. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Guys, one of the things I've noticed down here is the way Emig is riding. He's a little bit more forward on the bike, the way he's attacking, leading into the jumps, trying to keep that bike as low as he can. The last few races when he was in this slump, he was sort of sitting up on the bike, catching an awful lot of air. Keep an eye on, see if you agree with me, but from down here, that's the way it looks.
Here comes Jeremy McGrath. Emig trying to hold on. McGrath's got the inside, but yes, Emig, separate line. McGrath, they touch rubber. Jeremy is in the lead here at Daytona. He's looking for his 2nd lead. He's looking for his 2nd win here in Daytona. So it's McGrath, Emig, and now Ezra Lusk has moved into 3rd. Getting around Henry about the same time that McGrath made his move on Emig.
Yeah, that was the double roar of the crowd. Both passes taking place at the same time, and Marty, that was a great observation of Emig's riding style, and I have noticed that. And you'll notice when the riders are on the starting line waiting for that gate to fall, in that first 20 or 30 yards, you look at their position. you're in a hurry on the starting line, and that position demonstrates that. You're leaning forward, and if you can do that out there in the racetrack too, that just shows that you're charging hard and aggressive.
Okay, Lusk is putting some time already on Henry. So it's McGrath, Emig, Lusk, and Henry spaced out pretty well. And Albertine almost went down in 5th place.
Yeah, right at the end of the whoop section.
Saved that.
That was scary. That'll get him thinking a little bit, but
because he's got LaRocco behind him. LaRocco has got a hay bale cover in his rear wheel. And it's LaRocco that's behind Greg Albertine, number 7.
Albertine, that same exact section where McGrath had his problem off the triple. The guys are going wide right there. They can't get the angle they had earlier. The track's getting rougher now. Off onto the pavement. Through the moguls right there, a little bit offline again.
And Albertine hits the hay bale. Let's take another look, David Bailey.
Now this is the triple heading up into it. Sets up nice, gets into the berm, cuts out early. He gets a little wheelie, gets off balance. Doesn't hit the line he wants. Oh, that was even uglier than I thought. Yeah, he had both feet off. That was just whiplash. I don't know how he saved it.
Out in front, Jeremy McGrath. Can he win his 2nd Daytona Supercross? We'll be right back. Art Eckman, David Bailey, and Marty Reed as we take a look at the Suzuki leaderboard. McGrath, Emig, Lusk, Henry, and Albertine are top 5. Halfway point, 10 laps to go now.
Jeremy not able to get all the way over that plateau. That must be getting rough down there. And Emig actually still right in there. He's actually made a little bit of time on Lusk. Lusk made a mistake too, but that allowed him to stop worrying about him so much and think, you know what? Jeremy's still right there. Maybe I ought to make another run at him. 10 more laps, and they're only halfway here. This is when the race really begins. Look at that back end dancing around. Look at the beating these guys take. I mean, that's where Albertine got out of shape. The one that we didn't replay, he got out of shape, and that was the section. The back end dances around. If you let off the gas right there, that's what the natural instinct is to do. When you get squirrely, let off. But that power actually keeps these tracking straight.
Keep looking ahead.
Yep, the mechanics are telling their riders, look ahead. Ride your own race. Look at the ruts coming out of there. Guys using Jeremy going through the middle, Emmett going tight, Lusk going wide. So there's plenty of lines out there.
Ezra Lusk pulling up on Jeff Emig.
That mogul section's really working out good this year. Last year it turned a little bit of a one-line situation towards the end, but now it's still, you can get through there and make a mistake and end up way off to the side.
On the last lap, it was a 1:22.9 for Jeremy McGrath as we're taking a look at the 2nd place battle, Emig and Ezra Lusk.
Well, these guys are, as we look at the Honda stopwatch, you can see the split. That isn't much. We're going to get a lap time.
About 3.5.
It's a pretty big gap from Henry on back. Henry's still staying in contact with these guys. You can see them, some of the long straightaways. That's another thing about Daytona. Some of these straightaways are so long, you can see the guy way up there, and it motivates you to go, you know, there's only a few laps left. Maybe I ought to just give it everything I got, see if I can still catch that guy. We're in a regular Supercross event where the track gets so confusing, going back and forth. It's hard to judge the distance behind.
Albertine trying to put his another good race back-to-back with a 4th place finish at Tampa.
Craig going by, who'd gotten such a good start. It's actually dropped pretty far back now.
Lusk closing in on Jeff Emig now as they rub. Emig holding on. Emig could use all that track, and especially the guy out in front can take the line he wants. Ezra Lusk now dropping back, and Ezra getting squirrely, has to go off the track and re-enter.
I guess the rule is too, when you get all out of shape like that and miss an obstacle, as long as you don't gain a position, as long as you re-enter safely, and I guess that's okay. And that's what Lusk did right there.
Check out the lap time now for Jeremy McGrath, our leader here at Daytona.
Consistent, I can tell you that.
1:23.5.
Yeah, they're going.
He's picked it up a slight bit.
The only thing that'll cause that to ever fluctuate much more than a half a second will be lap traffic.
Ezra Lusk in 3rd.
You can hear that throttle right there. It's so important. A lot of the amateurs make the mistake of driving wide open all the way into the face. Compresses the suspension so deep that all you do is go up. You don't go out. You heard Lusk right there let off just before the face, gas it on the takeoff, and that launches them out, gets the distance.
LaRocco in 6th place. He got 6th in Tampa, 5th in the race before that in Atlanta, 6th in the race before that at Indy, before a 4th place in San Diego. He's got that cover, or part of a cover, wrapped in the rear wheel, but evidently it hasn't affected the braking system.
We never know. You could disguise that pretty good. You can tell a lot of times these guys will tap the brake in the air off the jumps. He moved his foot back, so I know he didn't try it there, but you'll see that wheel stop in the air. A lot of the guys that try to change that angle.
Mike LaRocco a little bit frustrated that he hasn't been able to put it all together to get better than a 4th place finish this year. He has 2 4th place finishes. Mike LaRocco, though, starting to pick up the space on Albertine. Albie, number 7 right there, is in the position right in front of LaRocco. He's in 5th.
You know, the other thing, too, Art, is these guys aren't that far behind Henry. They can certainly hear him. That's for sure.
The 4-stroke.
They can look up the track not too far and see him. They know that's still within their grasp. Podium spot, well, that's quite a bit farther down the straightaway, but anything can happen. Stay in it.
LaRocco's best ever finish here at Daytona was back in '95 when he took a 2nd. He went to 3rd in '94 and a 4th in '93. He had a 5th place last year. Number 5, Mike LaRocco on the factory connection Honda, trying to catch up with Albertine. Of course, he had that crash at Gatorback in '96 and came in here with an injured knee and rode with to a 9th place finish. Back on Jeremy McGrath.
Working his way into the mogul section. He's been getting through that same line, consistent every lap. That's where he was making his time on Emig for the long straightaway past the mechanics. Albertine over that triple clean this time. You can hear Henry just going by, so he's picking up time now.
A 4.6 difference. We got notification from down below. Here's LaRocco. He's got less than that in the difference to Albertine.
Well, that's a fast straightaway. You don't get to do that in a dome. Yeah, you don't have the potential of rain in a dome, but you don't get to get out into 4th gear and let that bike go. The Suzuki's got more horsepower and they're showing it.
So both Albertine and LaRocco are catching up to Doug Henry in 4th place.
Henry all the way over that finish line jump. You can see he has to go wide though.
Henry, this was only his 2nd race coming back after that broken back injury.
You can hear LaRocco right there whining that throttle. He knew he was going to be coming up a little bit short in that triple. We used to call that the panic rev. In fact, that was one of my favorite things to do in practice. We'd be standing around with some of our teammates and you'd hear somebody do that in the air and he'd make this scary face like it was happening right behind him, and boy would they duck.
Henry in '96, coming back from that back injury. '97, he took a 10th place after starting 2nd. He was riding then with a hurt hand and put a little pressure on Emig at the very start, but then faded back.
So McGrath's lap times now out front are starting to slow down just a little bit, down to 124.
Here comes Albertine, makes the hippity hop pass on Doug Henry.
Great move.
Boy, a strong race from Albertine so far.
Yep, he's looking good. Really impressed me last week. Looked super in his heat, and I know he's a good mud rider, but whatever he did in the last couple of weeks, he needs to keep doing it. He's back in form.
Albertine moving into 4th place, matching so far his finish in the last race, Marty Reed.
Yeah, and I talked to him after the heat race, and he was really frustrated. He says, boy, this bike with the new motor's really running well. I know we can run up front. I know we can make a podium. All I got to do is get a good start and stay up on her. And he felt fine. He had a little bit of bumper bruise, but he did not get the great start. But here he is making one of those late race charges like we've seen him do the last few times out.
And he's only 5 seconds now away from Ezra Lusk. Lusk in 3rd behind Emig and McGrath.
Yeah, that 5 seconds, though, is going to be pretty tough to make up. There you see that dancing around through that rut of the whoops. Boy, this track, when I was a kid, Art, you talked about me growing up here. I spent a few months here every year during the Florida Series. I'd always be here to watch the race, and it's my favorite thing to go walk the track after the race. Look how rough it got. And right now, these guys are hitting so many holes out there. They'll be happy to see that white flag.
Albie, a 2nd place here last year, one of 5 podiums. As we look at Jeremy McGrath.
Just steady, but you know what? That steady isn't quite good enough right now because in that last lap, he lost quite a bit of time to Emig.
McGrath
never really has looked at Daytona as one of the big important races, but it became important to him when it was one of the few races that he hadn't won. And Daytona being, of course, the first Supercross race ever, and it's great history.
Well, I think he just got tired of, he'd won just about everything there ever was to win. It was like, what else do I have to prove? And of course, we added to that too a little bit.
Yes, we did, didn't
and I think
we?
he got tired of listening to it, so he said, okay, I'll win that thing too. So